welcome back, everybody, and welcome back, Gary Wilson. It's been a long Christmas, and it's been a hard time missing you.
Yeah, it has. At least we've got to see each other while we're doing
beautiful
some of the Jet stuff.
Doing
Commentating.
the Jets.
Been
I mean,
enjoyable.
what an innovation by
BarTV.
of course, BarTV, the kings of live stream media.
Yeah.
Just before we get into it, very sad news for the man between the poles this week, Chris Turner, CT, and his unfortunate and distraughtful loss for his young son, who lit up the lives of everyone who crossed his path. Charlie Turner, an absolute brilliant kid. He went to Newey High, just full of love, full of life. Obviously, the family's quite distraught, and they do send out all their thanks. Spoke to Chris just a moment ago for any messages, and just thanks to the whole football community and everyone that transcends the football community, and all the thoughts and support that they've received over the past 48 hours. I mean, what an absolute legend of a kid. He was sort of everywhere. He grew up with BarTV. BarTV was one of his favourite things, listening to his old man. He was often at games and that with CT. I mean, BarTV's grown up with him as well, I guess.
Just a beautiful boy. I remember when he was just little, and when he was coaching against CT and playing against CT, but then through the Arnott's program when we had it at Edgeworth as well, and then now when we've got back into BarTV, and such a beautiful soul and beautiful parents, and just really sad. It really shocked me when I heard, and he's had a great little life. It's been a duo, hasn't it? Everywhere you look, he's there with Chris. Just so sad, but just so positive. The outpouring of support from the football community and the wider community as well. But
all the photos and everything on social. It's been absolutely amazing. It just shows that the community, the football community, is bigger than anything. Bigger than any association, any club. It's a family. Which
rivalries get put aside, and I've been there on a smaller note, and they just get in behind you and they support you, and I'm sure that's what they're doing out there for Chris and his family. And it was only 2 weeks ago I saw young Charlie, vibrant and following his dad around like he always did at Mark Wilson's 50th. He just so good to talk to. Always. He's going to be missed by so many people, never forgotten. It's just not fair. I don't think it really is fair in any way that a parent has to, bury his child, and it's really sad. And just keep getting behind him. He's going to need loads of support, and we're going to be here for him as much as we can.
And speaking to Josh, the obviously the owner of BarTV Sports, they'd like to reach out and make Charlie the #1 subscriber for life for BarTV Sports, so he'll get a memory in that.
Great, I think we're.
He's just he's just got a special place in this business and indeed the football community. I will say, as I said, I just spoke to Chris just before, and he said, loving the flowers, but can we please stop? 6-pack of Traveller and a Shardy for Floss, maybe some gin for the girls. But the family says thank you. We obviously say thank you to CT. I know we sometimes have a bit of a laugh and a bit, I mean, he's the third pole. Let's be honest. He's the big pole.
He's just so well known and supported in Newcastle, CT, and I know that everyone will get behind him, and we will. We thought, should we do the show, out of respect, but I think to do the show for Charlie and show what he meant to not only us two, but to what is happening out there in the community, just the outpouring of grief, but support.
So Charlie Turner, #1 ticket holder. Here's a couple of photos and images just to remember the young kid by, and thoughts go out to the family. Oh shit! Welcome, Sam
Thank
Ford. We've been promising you a start on the polls all last season, and now that we've lost the gig with BarTV, we thought we might get you on just to humour our audience out there. I mean, it's wonderful having you on. You obviously well travelled. From Slough, is it in England? Is that where you're from?
Somewhere.
Slow or
Shaftesbury.
You shafted?
Shafted,
Yeah. Is that a gloomy? Because you're a vibrant sort of person. When you go back home, do you bring light to what's a gloomy suburb?
Do you know what's funny? I've only lived in England for 6 years.
Yeah, right.
So because of Dad's work, I've always been abroad.
Yeah, right. So I like how the English say abroad. It's quite posh and proper.
Yeah, well, I've only ever I spent 4 years at boarding school. Then I did 2 years doing my trade at the time.
Right. What boarding school?
Shaftesbury.
Like, fuck off. Is that like Newey High?
No.
Just you had heaps of detention.
It was unbelievable.
You always kept that from us at Edgeworth, that you went to a prep school, like a boarding school.
No, everyone knew.
Oh, I did.
Just no one wanted to use it.
They
knew better than to mention it.
No, it's good having you on, and you obviously commentated with us a couple of times last year. And enjoyable, bit of a personality. Obviously, won't be able to do that again next year, but we're prepared to break bread. I was going to bring some bread for Northern to break if they wanted to break it with the polls and get us involved somehow. Just leave it there.
I seen a post of them putting up saying they wanted commentators, and I didn't.
Did you Did you go in? Did you put?
No.
I'll give you a reference.
Doing it, I'm not doing anything.
I'll give you.
Pete's not taking your calls.
Well, no one's taking my calls there. They won't even look me in the eye when I'm out there. But anyway, I've got piercing eyes and intimidating. I'm not the lovable, cuddly teddy bear that most people think I am. But actually, I am wearing the shirt because I've been going for job interviews now that I've lost 10k off the year. 10k off me bottom line. Thanks very much, Northern Division. Anyway, getting off that. We're still going to obviously speak about the local comp, be that the NPL, but it gives us a broader range. We've got NPL 1, we've got ZPL potentially that we can talk about, right down to community.
You're basically saying we can do whatever we like.
I'm basically saying I give you carte blanche. I know I held you back last year. I held you back last year from a lot of what you're about to say, but happy for you just to go right ahead this year, Gary.
I've got plenty to say, I'll tell you that much. There's a reason I'm not allowed to spell. I'm actually, funny enough...
Are you banned from...
I'm banned from their social media.
Really?
On Facebook I'm not, but on the Instagram I am.
Is that the guns are out? Just posting guns?
Every time they post something and it was wrong, like they would post... I don't know who does it. And look, I get that it's not I don't know if it's a full-time paid guy. I have no idea. I couldn't care less. But they post...
With $8 million in the bank, I reckon it's close.
Oh, yeah. Well, don't get me started on the money and stuff like that. But, I got plenty to say. But the social media...
I'm talking about you. $8 million in the bank.
Oh, yeah. No, that's half. I got double that. No, they put posts up on, Player of the Year or, Team of the Week and stuff like that. And there were times where there was Team of the Week, a player that didn't play.
Yeah, right.
And, to me, that's criminal. You want to... The whole point of posting about this and stuff like that is it's supposed to mean something. You get in Team of the Week, it shouldn't be because you're mates with so-and-so.
Oh, in their defence to that, I think the Team of the Week was picked on the spirit of the player, not the actual playing of the game. So just
Friday.
I think it's just the whole charisma and
then I would have been in it every week. I wouldn't have played. I'd have been up front every week. We're talking about a character. I'd have played right back, left back, up front.
You can't buy charisma at the corner shop.
You can. You can, but
shit.
Yeah, you got to sell your soul with it, and next thing you know, you're dancing with the devil, which we've all been there.
Down that
any case, we got the Charity Shield this week. HMRI is the charity, good charity to be a part of. So money going to that, which is great.
Out at Jack McLaughlin, the field's looking smick.
Oh, out at Jack Mac, is it?
Yeah, they're giving Edgy something.
Yeah,
start of the
again.
season.
Mate, you had 10 finals last year. What are you talking about? I'd have it at Cook Square, to be fair. It's looking good over there.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, all the grounds and facilities are really looking good at the moment.
No, Lambton's looking good.
Yeah.
I saw that
Arthur
the other day.
Snedden.
Of course they look good. It's the start of the year.
Yeah.
Every ground.
There's so much traffic on it now with the JDL and the women's and the youth especially. So
Well, the season's tripled.
yeah.
So now there's going to be more for the JDL and NPL and that. So anyway, that's one for the next show. Yeah, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. Jaffa's losing a lot of players. I saw Jim Kresner out at Spears Point the other day getting some training drills set out with his witches hats and
Yeah, right.
telling
They're
me that
already out there, are they?
Yeah, they were out there because Edgeworth didn't show up out there.
Well,
He was
no,
blowing up. He was blowing up because Edgeworth booked it. So he had to get on at like 7 o'clock.
We book it. What we do is we book it and we don't use it for the first month. So then we can, obviously we can get it later on.
Yeah. So
some days where we need it, we just rebook.
So conspiracy theory
Yes,
number one
yeah.
for the year, Gary. I know you've got this beef with Northern, but it seems like you're getting all the favours. So I reckon it's like, you remember Usual Suspects, the movie, and Kaiser Sose with a limp?
Yep.
He was the actual ringleader.
I
It's
thought
Edgeworth.
I was the only one that was hated by Northern. I didn't
I
realise
think
who I was.
Edgeworth is the Kaiser Sose of the competition.
I am my knee. You've seen my knee.
Yeah.
Every now and again it sneaks in, that limp. So.
Yeah. I think pretty sure he had a stroke as well.
I did. That was all.
I know what you Kaiser Sose.
I put that all on. That's It's one of my
Awfully
greatest
good.
stories. I did a 10-year plan. I'm 5 years through it. Just moved back in with my ex-wife. So there's just still a few things to tick off.
There's hope from
Yeah,
the
definitely.
There's a couple of main things to tick off.
Definitely hope. Well, certainly this show's got a bit lighter since we opened it up. Jaffas versus Magic Jaffas, obviously they've lost a fair few players. There's been rumours on, I think, the assistant coach has been dropped back to JDL
I
technical.
think he made the choice to go down, I think.
You don't
to
make
the youth.
You don't make
Yeah,
choices
I think
in
they were
pro
having
football, mate.
some issues in the way they were doing things, so he went back. But yeah, I mean, they led for 75%, 80% of the season, the Jaffas, and really they fed Magic the league.
Well, it was a turning point, wasn't it, when Magic played them and pumped them 6-1 or something.
Yeah,
whatever it was.
We
Arthur
called
Snedden.
that game.
Yeah.
It's terrific.
Yeah.
Game for Magic. But
Ruthless.
they were ruthless that day, and Jaffas just dropped off and they never recovered. And they did straight out the back door in the semi-final series. So there'll be a lot of players still there with a lot to prove. Obviously they were doing something right the first 8 to 10 weeks. Benny Hayes a big loss. Kale's a big loss.
Carl's like massive. Olympic.
Well,
I tell you what. Talk about checkbook. Talk about $8 million in the bank. 16 for you. Jesus.
But it'll be interesting to see where they're at and how they've trained and how they've reacted to the way they finished last year. And obviously Magic took everything before them. Like I said, though, I think Jaffas fed them the league.
Yeah.
But they're a good side, Magic. I haven't seen their latest signings, but
they've got a
back.
when I was out there
Have you heard
last,
anything?
Jim Kresner.
Me.
Bailey.
Yeah, I won't say anything.
Yeah.
I'll leave it to him.
So I'm under the impression that he's
spoken
just
to
about
him.
to sign with Brisbane. That's what the impression I got.
Oh right, no, I was hearing the other way that the owners weren't going to come in, but that's great news if it is.
Well, that's the last I heard.
Yeah.
You guys are closer than me. I'm just a
No, hopefully
just a
that's
fat
it.
kid with
I hope that's it.
with an interview
Or
shirt on.
The only other thing he might be holding back is the Maitland have jumped in on him. That could be it. And
be.
Magic, they might. It's a lot of money to.
And he's a very good coach as
operator.
well.
40
Operator.
sneaks in there too, though. 40
operates
around the edges when it comes to signing players.
Yeah,
and try to take a few of the Eagles boys, but
I'm trying to take the heat off him. I believe Magic have got a kid from the Mariners as well. Obviously, there's a link there, and potentially.
They got Harrison because we played them early on. It was their first preseason game. We played them.
Yeah.
They got the whole team back plus a few others.
Yeah. So just strengthening their depth. Was Jaden Stewartson? Is he
They're
based?
still there.
still there.
Beecham, Ben Diamond. They kept the exact same squad that won it last year.
Yeah.
But there's a few that left, but none that. I don't want to sound like I'm insulting. None that played.
No impact players.
Yeah,
none of the big names.
Well, to be fair, Benson left, and
Yeah.
there's an argument that Benson was a big reason they won the league because he scored that double at
He was
Olympic.
very good last year.
No,
where did he go, Benson?
He's at Cookshill.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is good. I think they need to go find football, and Benson like his form was good last year.
Very good, yeah.
No, he done
when he
well.
started, he did well. When he came off the bench, and like you said, the game against Olympic was a massive game.
That to me is where they want it.
They really triggered
just gave them momentum.
the momentum that they needed to go on with it.
Jaffers, any gains for Jaffers coming into this?
Well, it's like they signed Sam Donnellan and
Also, there's a magic boy, isn't it?
Yeah,
He's looking for football. And
I don't know. There's a few others, but like I don't.
Around the peripherals and from outside, I believe they got 2 Japanese boys as well this year.
Well, they kept the guy that they had last year.
He was very good, Sato. I thought he was.
He got injured. Though,
He's got the potential to be the best player in the comp.
Well, from what I'm hearing, he's very injury prone as well. Like it's taking any type of knock, it affects him pretty heavily. And but I liked him too. I thought he's really he gets the defenders to come in close.
Eyes up.
Very good. I like it. Good terminology. Very good.
I've been practicing in the off season,
We've
mate.
got an A license. He'll be impressed with eyes up.
Eyes up. Eyes up.
Yeah.
Triangles, whatever.
Yeah, triangles.
So what are your predictions for that?
I think Magic. I mean, I just
I just think Jaffers are
40s.
old.
Yeah, like 40 saying, if they've kept their whole group and they've gained a couple, which they have, we'll soon see. You know, the Lamp that might have flew under the radar a little bit, and they've been working hard.
They'll always be competitive.
Yeah,
I just think that the gap that Magic have fixed. I do think the biggest thing, and I spoke to Jim about this last year. He probably disagrees with me, but I think that having Declan on board, who's the UBF, the S&C guy that they had all year, he is hands down the best in the business at what he does. Just comfortably the best in the business at what he does. And Magic had him all the last year, and he's taken players like Wells and these guys were already great. But you add the strength and conditioning side, which is what separates a lot of guys at our level to going up the next level.
Particularly early season as well. As a team, from a team perspective, if you're fitter than everyone else, then you're gonna.
But it's also
play
being able to
games.
stay on the park. It's all good and well being able to run all day. A lot of guys tend to keep fit, especially in this country. A lot of people just like doing that sort of stuff.
And Declan comes from football background, the goalkeeper. He played at the Eagles,
and he loves it.
Yeah, no, I know Declan from UBF as well. When I worked out there many years ago. But he's a good guy too.
You
can't hate a Declan.
No.
I hate Declan.
You can't say hate. You can't say you hate a Declan. Declan's one of the all-time great names. To be fair. So I'm gonna say Magic. I'm gonna say 4-0.
But I'll be interested to see.
Charity shield.
I'll be interested to see how they do go. Jaffers and how they react.
I think it's time for Tanch to start getting some of his younger players. He's got a good young players underneath there.
The problem is,
his son for one, Cruz, is going to be probably a really good striker or good player.
I think he flushed him in there a little bit last in the cup. Didn't he? But
scored a wicked goal.
I think the problem is they've just got from outside for so long that maybe some of their better younger players might have moved on.
Which is weird because they coming through in that sort of YPL, they're always in top 4, so they're not.
Well,
they're doing something right in that junior space.
In the end, most people will go to the inner city clubs through the NPL. That's where they want to be. Parents think that's where they should be.
Well, I mean, the People's Club's still building, isn't it? Valentine.
Whenever you're involved and pumping their tyres up all the time, getting sponsors for them, and, using your position.
Position. Oh, yeah. I mean, well, that's a funny thing. We had a position of power, but now my word means nothing.
We need another platform.
We do. Maybe that comes through the Maitland Club, of course.
Plenty of video stuff up there at the moment.
There's
lots of good stuff happening up there. Like a full identity kind of switch.
So
it needed it.
It's one of the players' wives that does the social stuff,
Crowley.
So she does an awesome job at that too.
She does her S&C as well. She gets through a tremendous amount of work. Everything. Like, I think the biggest thing with anything is like an environment. I don't think people realise that you take Magic, for example, and like I said, whatever I say, this is my opinion. People can disagree, people can like it, people can't. But you got the coach that they had last year when they lost the grand final. Is polar opposite to the guy that they have now. And the team is built in a coach's image.
Yes.
Now you can get away with it because there's an argument. You look at Tance. Tance is fairly subdued on the sideline. I don't see him say a lot, but the team does well because they have money and they have good players. It's always going to do that. It's like Real Madrid. Doesn't matter who really coaches them. The team is always competitive. As soon as you get somebody who's really knowledgeable and can take it to that next level, that's when dominance lasts for a while. Like Zany.
Yes.
So do you think they should be called Fake Madrid?
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Money makes people fake.
I think that I do think that their decline begins. Like like I said, they could come out and win the league. I wouldn't be surprised, but I can bet my bottom dollar. Like if I'm a betting man and I'm not, I do think that they won't be as good. I do think they're on the way down.
Well, here's a word from our sponsors. Gamble responsibly. Joking. We're going to take a quick break and come back with the Sam Ford story. We've heard a little bit about it, but we're going to get right deep. We might even make you cry.
No chance. But good luck. Good luck. We'll see.
We're back shortly. Welcome back, everybody, to Between Two Poles. Between the poles today, of course, Sam Ford. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you.
You've already spoken a little bit about growing up, being from Shaftesbury for a number of years. Obviously you've played, all over. What made you first pick up a ball? What's your first memory of football and your love for it? I guess because you definitely are passionate. We talked earlier, about about getting involved in arguments online and stuff, but just being around the boys and playing. But you're very passionate about it anyway. So tell us where that passion started.
The first time I ever kicked the ball, I was 3 years old, and it was in Brunei. So my dad dad's English, half French, half English. Mum's from the Middle East. Yeah. So mum and dad met in Bahrain. Long story short, they ended up moving to Brunei, where dad was working for the government there as a teacher. So they would employ foreigners to teach English and stuff like that. And I was there for about 14 years before I went to boarding school.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So that's like it's a crazy story because like you hear me, I sound English. But like the majority of my life was everywhere else. I spent time in Dubai, I spent time in Bahrain. Yeah. I was in Saudi for about a year. I was born in Oman. So like I've been everywhere in that regard. Yeah, through Dad's work. Mainly. Yeah, wow. He's now in Uzbekistan, so I got to visit there.
And he teaches English over there too?
Yeah, he teaches English. Yeah, he's an academic director there. Wow. So like his work has always.
So he's not an English teacher. He's an academic director.
Nah, so
it's different.
He was an English teacher. Now he's an academic director. Yeah, he started as an English teacher.
Because I was going to say I taught English in the Galapagos Islands for food. For food and board, So there's a bit of a difference between teaching English to little Peru, Ecuadorian kids in Galapagos Islands to knowing the Sultan of Brunei.
Yeah. Funny enough, you say the Sultan. I played with his son.
Did you really?
Yeah, I went to school with him.
Yeah, right.
So like. This is a
better story than I thought.
No, I played football with a lot of the royal family. They had their own team, and it's funny. We used to rock up. So I was pretty much the only foreigner in the league at the time. So I always it's real weird. It's like I was in a foreign country, and I was the only white guy at the time playing in the league.
Yeah, right.
So I was very much picked on in that regard through games and stuff. I was fortunate enough I always played for the best teams.
Yeah.
So that the army was one team. I couldn't play for the army because you had to be in the army, and I couldn't get in because of the visa situation. But I played for a team called Indra, and we had pretty much all the best players that weren't at the army.
Yeah.
They played for our team.
Yeah, wow.
And this is another crazy part. Roy O'Donovan. Who was here at the Jets. I lived in the same compound as him. So he played for DPMM.
I didn't know that.
So he was at DPMM, which is the team in Singapore. Yeah. And we would have trial games every now and then against them. They would pick the best, 11 to 13 players in our league, and we would play against them during trial periods and stuff like that.
Crazy.
And so, he lived in the same compound as me. So
have you got anyone else you can name drop?
There was another guy. His name was Rodriguez or Rodrigo, and he played with Nani. But the football world is crazy because
Saddam Hussein?
They captured him before I got to play 1-2 with him.
I mean, because you've got a bit of mystery about you.
Yeah.
Maybe were you in there as some sort of ops expert?
Yeah, I'm a debt collector now, so it's not the knock on door type. But it's
because I've been watching a couple of shows online on Paramount, and one of them in particular called The Agency, and he goes overseas to it's an African country, and he poses as an English lecturer. Is this story based on your father's life.
Well, if it is, he hasn't told me. But it would explain why.
The best spies.
Yeah.
Tell their children.
Yeah.
If I'd have told you, I'd have to kill you. So
Yeah.
Of course,
Well, that's all right.
But yeah.
Well,
You can't kill someone that's already dead. So.
We're dead inside after our sacking.
Yeah. Let's not talk about the past.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, that's really interesting. Getting back to the Sultan of Brunei, do you ever have sleepovers?
Nah. So like, I've funny enough.
Is he one of the richest?
He's
He
the
was.
richest man in the
Yeah.
world. Wasn't
Nah,
he?
he was. He was
Yeah.
at one point.
Well,
I
who is
remember.
now? Bezos.
Nah, Elon Musk.
Is he?
Yeah, Musk
Is he really?
It bounces between him.
I'm sure
Musk is the first trillionaire
Would he be
or something.
affected
Mate.
by that, the Sultan?
To
I
be
reckon
honest,
the
when
Sultan's
he
still
at
got
one
it.
point.
Yeah,
he
the
at one
Sultan.
point. Well, when we say the richest people, like he might have more money, but he doesn't count because
He's
it's
got
a
gold
country.
and shit.
Yeah, it's a country,
Artifacts.
it's an
Yeah,
entity,
yeah.
so it's very different. It's like the Qataris in there.
Yeah, that's right.
They're not
Yeah.
classed as the richest people because they own a country.
Yeah, they wipe
Yeah,
credit
yeah.
card debt every year for all their citizens.
Yeah, they
It's
can
amazing.
do whatever they want. Yeah. Well, it's funny you say that because, like, in Brunei, there was no tax. So it's the same as when Dad was living in Dubai and stuff. They only just brought in 5% tax on all goods. But if
Yeah.
you're from the Middle East, if you're from Bahrain or Dubai, or
Yeah.
if you're from Dubai, they subsidize your wage so you don't feel the tax.
Oh,
they
there
take
you
care
go.
of their people.
Yeah, that's all.
They
I mean,
take care of their people.
that's for our politicians out there. Come on, that's a good little
So we
clip
don't
that
have to keep
out.
dodging
Yeah.
tax.
So,
Just I work for the government, boys, so just
Yeah, yeah.
relax.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I work for revenue.
Oh, do you? Fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Any parking fines, I'm the guy that knocks on your door.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I'm lost for words there.
I better.
Hey,
I've got to pay that bill.
thanks for getting a
I've got
good
to
guess,
drive
Gary.
home. I've
Thanks
got
for
to drive. I've been driving unlike.
thanks for getting one thing lower than a snitch, a revenue collector.
Yeah,
I'm
like
joking.
The next one up.
I'm
the next
joking.
one up,
Yeah.
When
No,
was
no,
that? Was that recent? Or,
Nah, I've been doing that for a while now.
Yeah.
I've been doing it for a while.
Out at,
I just
at the
keep it
Maitland
low
office?
key
Yeah,
because,
yeah.
The Maitland,
Yeah,
the
I'd
big,
work at the
big
Maitland
office.
Big one, yeah.
So we know where you work. You know where we live. We know where you work.
It's just a lot easier for me to find out where you moved to. So all good.
Shit. Getting back to sleeping over at the Sultan Brunei's house. So you moved around a fair bit then. Went Brunei and
Went to Brunei, then I went to England.
England, yep.
And then after England, I went back to. So I was at
Shel-
boarding school.
Shaftesbury.
Shaftesbury, yeah, Dorset.
Shaftesbury.
Yeah. Just remember
Say,
Shaft and then Bury.
If I say it three
That's it.
times, I'll remember
Yeah,
it.
there you go.
There's a good horse called Shaftesbury.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
right.
the last time I done anything regarding horses, I bet on Nature Strip and the Everest, and it fucking lost.
Yeah, never won an Everest.
So
Yeah, bad luck.
I
Getting back to Shaftesbury. So you went to Shaftesbury.
yeah, I went to boarding school. I was there for 4 years.
Yeah. What was in boarding school? Did you have to play rugby? Because there's a lot of...
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's real funny. I when I first got there, it was a sports school, so that's the reason I went there. So I went there, and we had trials and everything. It was the beginning of the year, so I played football, got on the football team, and rugby I wasn't gonna play. I wasn't gonna touch. I'd loved it. I'd always watched Union. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I'd never played it. We're doing physical education, PE, and we're playing rugby, and I wasn't like. When I say this, I'm not someone who's going around belting big guys, but one of the big guys ran at me and I tackled him, and I didn't think anything of it. It was just what we're playing. I picked it up, ran through, scored a try, whatever. I was like, okay, great.
You know what
This
that
guy,
is? Doing things just subliminally.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
fucking are a spy.
yeah,
Yeah, MK Ultra kind of stuff.
He's on to me. But yeah, and that happened, and then I was inside the change rooms after, getting ready for the next class, and the head of PE walks in and he goes, "You're playing rugby this afternoon." And I was like, I love sports, so I was like, okay, great, I played. And I played fullback for the simple reasons I could kick.
Yeah.
So I got away with sort of playing the game because I could kick, but I was too small.
Yeah.
I was just way too small. You know, I mean, I'm 31 now, and I would still be too small to play the game, and I go to the gym. Whereas back then, I was tiny.
Just to whip it.
Yeah, I was quick, and I was thinking, it's real weird. We played a team, and we beat them. I scored 2 tries, and it was sort of, I felt great. And then the next team we played, and I got belted, like battered. And then so if our games were on like a Friday at school, and then my club was playing on the Saturday, if I played rugby on the Friday, Saturday I was buggered.
Yeah, right.
So it was like I had to pick one, and I was obviously better at football, so I just never played rugby at any decent level apart from school.
So post school, you're obviously in the football team and that. Where did life take you after school?
After school, so I'd finished school and I wanted to start a trade. So I started doing. So in the UK, window fitting's a big thing because they build conservatories on the end of houses and stuff.
Yep.
So that's what
Double
my trade was in.
glazed.
Double glazing,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I did that for 2.5, 3 years, and right at the 2.5 year mark, I just began my coaching courses, and that was I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
Or 16. 16 is when I started. 17 when I
trades are
finished it.
different over there, aren't they? It's not like over here where you sort of 4 years.
No, it's the same there, but it depends on the trade. So if you're an electrician, you're going to here you have a TAFE, there it's a similar thing, you do your 4 years. With window fitting, you just show up and you're doing the window fitting, and eventually you just get good enough that you keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's not like a ticketed thing.
No,
you can get one,
that's
but
right.
it's different.
Because I did roofing over there when I played over there. And slate roofing, and
Slate,
I'm pretty sure they gave me the ticket.
Yeah,
I've got it somewhere.
At the time, my
3 months.
my ex
Good roofer.
now, but her dad was a roofer, he ran his own business.
Yeah,
So
right.
I did roofing in between the times where I wasn't doing.
What a prick of a job. I thought it was going to be awesome because it rained.
Nah, it's horrible.
Because I did it a little bit over here when I was it's one of the worst jobs. Because it rained all the time here and tools down, but over there it's horizontal rain. You're on these slates. I fell off a roof once. But lucky it was muddy downstairs, and you have no conveyors, and you got to lug these 16 slates up a fucking...
They throw 'em.
I'm in the trade game, and roofing looks the most awful job. In the elements
in the UK,
all the time.
In the UK, the worst one would probably be scaffolding.
Oh,
The simple reason is in the summer they're too hot to hold, and in the winter it's too cold. And every single scaffolder that played in any of the teams that I played in were the toughest fucking people because they are just built different.
Yeah, they are.
All of them. They're just the strength comes from their job. And they're miserable because of their job. So when they play, there's no nonsense. They
lack teeth over here.
And it's actually amazing. I'm looking at you. You've got all your teeth.
Well, I got braces, so they're almost perfect.
But you grew up with a bit of a silver spoon in Bahrain, so it's kind of acceptable. Good dental, no tax.
No, I've lived that. I can't
Affordable,
complain.
mate.
I've lived a good life. Dad's treated me well.
And why the coaching license so early? Was it an injury?
The reason I did it was because I knew eventually that if I had a career that kicked off playing, having my licenses would already put me at a head start. So before I'd ever, because I knew I was going to go on trials and stuff like that, before I'd ever done it, the aim was to, having the licenses would just open doors. So when I first came to Australia, I was at Singleton. So
were you?
Yeah.
I grew up there.
Did you?
Yeah.
I hated it there.
Fuck, I don't live there now.
Yeah. I say I hated it. I talk about this a lot recently, to Ryan and stuff like that, about how it's so different with me because Seth went to the States and stuff like that. When I did my trial at Peterborough, I got offered a scholarship to go to America. I didn't even entertain it because I didn't want to work. I didn't want to study anymore.
Yeah, right.
And it's the biggest mistake that I made.
It's the biggest mistake. I had the chance to go to St. Louis and study in Missouri there.
Yeah.
Knocked it back.
Yeah, it's the biggest mistake that I ever made. Now, I don't even know where I would have gone. All I know now is looking back at it, the American system in terms of the S&C and everything like that. Because the one thing that I've always been able to keep, even with the injuries, is being great athletically. It's the only reason I can still sort of play. But the States would have been perfect for me.
I reckon I would have jagged college sweetheart, no divorce, rich parents.
You'd have stuffed it up. Though.
Yeah.
You'd have definitely stuffed it up.
I've stuffed up life a couple of times, and I'm good with that now. I'm good with that now. But
this is an open forum to the struggles.
Yeah.
And when he brings it up, I jump in because I did a 1.5 years of psychology.
Yeah, so he's basically qualified.
I just can't take money.
Qualified at England. You came to Australia. You came to Singleton. Wow.
Yeah, so
were connected.
Well, what happened was the organisation that I went through that done the trials and everything, they go, right, you can go to the States, there was a gig in Gibraltar, or you can come to Australia. And I'd already sort of done some research on just Australia in general, because before I was going to Shaftesbury, I was going to go to Perth.
Oh, yeah, well, would have been way better than Singo.
Oh, yeah, well, and it ended up just being, I came to Singleton, my very first training session, I said to Dad, what am I doing here? I wanted to leave. I've always been someone that's sort of, to the detriment of my career, I'm here, I've signed, I'll stick with it. It was the biggest mistake I ever made.
That would have been second division.
Yeah, it was definitely second division, yeah. We played, you know what's funny? We played Edgy in the FFA Cup.
Yeah, right.
When Singleton made it to that round, they were the only team at that league that had made it that far, and we lost 7-0.
I remember, I finished coaching for a year, and I went and played for West Wallsend when I was about 42. Yeah. I played up there at it's off Percy Street near
the tennis courts.
It was so hard, and And yeah, it was a tough.
Was
place
Rodney
to play
Luxford
at.
still playing with you?
Who?
It
Rodney
would have
Luxford,
been.
was he still playing there?
No, he wasn't.
Would have
There.
been
Anthony
about 10
Castledon?
years ago. No.
No, 9
Yeah.
years. 9 years
Yeah.
now, yeah. Well, yeah, 9 years.
I think I can't remember who was coaching. Was it Scotty Bailey? Or,
Nah, when I
no?
was there, it was Dave Willoughby.
Yeah.
He
might
hates
have
my
been.
guts, and I hate him. So.
That's all right. I don't know him.
Yeah.
But you know Anthony Castledon?
No. Oh, I've heard the name.
Club
I've heard-
legend
I've
up
heard
there.
the name.
Yeah.
I've heard the name.
My first ever soccer coach when I was
Really?
7 years old.
Well, there you go.
And he was
Yeah.
playing then, and when I turned probably 30, he was still playing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, no, now I think it's Brendan Slade. I think Slade he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Singleton, you got the fuck out of Dodge there, and
Yeah, well, so
went to Edgy. What, is that what?
No. So after Singleton, I was on trial. It wasn't even a trial. I just asked to train at Magic.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
that's when Bobby Newmove was coach.
yeah.
So I was training there, and then I ended up getting, because the guy that I was working with in Singleton at the time,
Yeah.
he was friends with Rod Henderson at Western.
Western, yeah.
And I signed for Western. Pigo was the coach at the time, and because I was an import at the time.
Yeah.
So I'd signed for Western and stuff like that, and I was there for the first year, but I'd just come back from injury. That's sort of when the injury started to creep in.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd signed at Western, I had a rolled ankle, and I was and I sort of forced myself to come back, and I was still shaky. Then the next year I got healthy, and I was hardly playing. I just didn't, I couldn't tell you what I did wrong, but and I got offers to leave, and I stayed because I thought, no, I'm here, I'll stick it out.
Yeah.
And it ended up just being detrimental to me, always sort of especially at the Western that second year.
Trying to prove yourself.
Yeah, I was I was in sort of a slump and stuff like that, and I've always been I've never needed a huge amount of guidance. But if a coach is turning around, we played Jaffers the year after so it was the preseason. They won the league. We played them in preseason. I was playing centre back. I never played centre back in my life. We won 4-0. And then in the next training session, I spoke to the coach and I said, "Look, what is it that you see?" And he turns around and he goes, "You're the worst player in the field." Now I know the game and I understand it. And if I was the worst, I'd tell you I was the worst. I was by far not the worst player in the field, but it was just his reason to try and put me down the pecking order, which is fine. You know, that is what it is.
Centre back, 4-0 win.
That's what I mean. You know what I mean? And that was when both the Griffiths brothers, but we weren't playing idiots. We played a decent team.
Yeah.
People go, "Oh, it's preseason," but when you win, you don't claim it as preseason. When you lose, you claim it as preseason.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like last year when Magic won the FA,
the
Cup, that
State Cup, whatever it is. Yeah.
they took it as a big win.
Yes,
It matters.
so,
The whole point of football is
it
matters. You know what I
You
mean?
want to win. You want to win every game.
That's exactly
Yeah.
it.
If
People
you're not,
go,
you're a loser.
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah, I agree. If you're not first, you're last." That's my look on it.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
It should be in a movie, that.
Yeah. Tailgater Nights. If you're not
Tailgater
first, you're
Nights,
last.
you're not
Yeah.
first, you're last,
One of the best. So Western didn't work out for you.
No, I was Western, then Q came in. So
Yeah.
Pigo, obviously, they got rid of Pigo, and then
Yeah.
Q came in. And I never got a phone call from him. I had to ring him, and he basically just said, "Look, you don't fit in the plans," which is fine. But I would have just ring me and tell me. Anyway, and then I was sort of in limbo at that stage, and I ended up going to South Cardiff, and that's where it just kicked off for me again. Went to South Cardiff. I did really well there. Was in Team of the Year and all that sort of stuff. And then we had an FFA Cup game, and Zakovic was the coach at the time. And we lost 2-1 to Magic. I'd had a really good game. I scored a screamer, and things were on the up. And then the year after that, I ended up going to Lakes, and that's when I did my knee.
Yeah, right.
So I was at Lakes, and that was with Ruffo. And we had a preseason game, funny enough, it was against Maitland. And Bolchi was the coach at the time. I think it was Bolchi at the time.
Yeah.
And we played, it was like a second preseason game, so I didn't even play any league games for him.
Yeah.
And I landed on my knee, and that was it.
What was it? What'd you do?
I did my ACL, MCL, PCL, LCL, my meniscus, and I fractured my femur. I basically, it was a car accident.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's a car wreck.
Yeah. And I went to see the surgeon about 4 months after the injury, and he'd seen the MRI prior to when I could walk. And he said to me, he's like, "You shouldn't be able to walk."
Yeah, well.
And I was sort of like, and the first thing he says to me, I'm sitting there, and he goes, "Look, this is catastrophic. You can walk, so I need another MRI." I had another MRI, and this was during COVID.
Yeah.
So I couldn't get surgery because elective surgery was
yeah.
shut. I just had the shit end of the stick on the timing. I ended up doing a year of rehab with no ACL to play again. I had problems with the knee. The meniscus got caught, was stopping me from extending the knee.
Yeah.
Had surgery. COVID hit again, got caught again, had to have another surgery. And that was pretty much the end of anything. And I was 24 at the time.
Yeah, wow.
So between 24 and 28, it destroyed me completely.
Yeah, well. I mean, getting back to, you probably weren't supposed to walk. And again, watching the spy shows, a lot of them come back pretty...
Yeah, they come back pretty
think
good.
Maybe
Yeah.
when you were younger, couple of.
Oh, maybe. I hope so. I wish I did get something.
You've come back pretty. I've done a couple of knees and shoulder, and geez, I definitely don't look as athletic as you. So.
No, I've kept myself I can still move and stuff. My biggest issue now is the lack of the running.
Yeah.
And that was last year when I was at Edgy. We played that game against Jaffas at Spears Point, and I couldn't move. And I knew it then. It wasn't an issue with the ball. It was more an issue with I would pass it and I couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Your head's there, but you just your body.
And I hurt my knee in that game too, and that was it. I called. And I said to Pete and I said to the boys, I said, you're playing with 10 men if I play. And they had Ryan at that time too, and he came in and just destroyed everything. So there was no need for me to even be in. You know what I mean?
No need.
No need. Very good. No knees at all. But yeah, that was it, and that was sort of a realization point for me where I was like, okay, if I ever wanted to play the game again, I need a year where I'm coaching and maybe come back next year.
Yeah, cool. So obviously you're at Edgeworth and doing a bit behind the scenes there, and now you've made the move up to Maitland. How is it? How'd that come about? Obviously we speak about Husey a bit, and because he was at the People's Club last year and became a turncoat, and looks like he's got another turncoat in you up there. How did it all come about? He's a great bloke and good coaching staff up there.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't say I was biased. I think it's the best coaching staff in the league. I think when you add everything up there, I don't think anybody could sort of. Of course, there's other guys in the league that are good. Don't get me wrong, but I think
there's coaches in the league with no licenses.
Yeah. I mean, I put him
the best coach.
Yeah, the best coach in the league has got a license.
There's a few, but Husey is. I'd been in touch with him prior to. The move anyway, just sort of talking to him about football and stuff like that. But a lot of it was because I would be working in Maitland, so our office days are in Maitland, and it just made logistic sense for me to do that, because instead of me going from there then driving else somewhere like that. And I've always sort of put myself in a position where I want to learn from the best, and I think he is the best in the league at what he does.
Oh yeah, he did. No, particularly around that halfways and that.
That's what I mean. You know what I mean? He's in a position,
and just that whole.
He got some stuff set up at Valentine.
Yeah,
he's put some good things in place.
Yeah, he really has.
But this is his time now. He's been. I'm sure he's got pressure on himself, but he'll be looking to. They got to make the top 5, really. And from what I'm hearing, things are going well.
Yeah, but I mean, a real student of the game, and as talking to you now, you obviously you've had a love for coaching and I guess the technical side of it from a young age as well. So I guess that certainly helps. Playing and knowing the game as well, just having that love for more knowledge around it. Maitland's very lucky to have coaches that one care about the game, two really have a vested interest in developing as well.
No, 100%. I think that's the biggest issue with just football in general, is that you could coach a team last year and butcher it, and this year you'll get another gig, and that's not the coach's fault. No. That's the people employing them. And I always have arguments because people always compare. They go, "I knew he's not as good as this and that." The likes of I could name. You could go Bailey. You can go. You had Beecham. You had the whole back four at Magic. You've got Bailey Wells. You've got the Keanu's, the Seths, Ryans.
Even
Crowley.
10 years ago, Carl Bradley.
Bradbury still now. We say 10 years ago, he's just these guys. These guys are ballers in this league, and if they go to Sydney, they're ballers there as well. And if they go to Melbourne, they're just as good. There's this idea that in Newey, the league isn't as good. I dare say, the top teams with the top players can be just as good. We don't have the same money that they have in Sydney. No. We don't have the same facilities. We don't have that issue. Yeah. At Maitland, we have the best field. It's the best field all year, and it will be the best field all year for the foreseeable future, unless another team pumps millions into their ground.
Shit commentary box, but we don't have to worry about that this year.
See, that's funny. The BarTV stuff there, but we've asked for them to change that we can get better viewing and stuff like that. But in terms of the facilities, there's no better place to be. So we don't have that issue. We can compete with the likes of Sydney and stuff like that in terms of the facilities. Yeah. Now with the coaching, we can also do that. But obviously, this isn't the environment and things like that. This is a big thing. This is where my issues stem with the likes of other clubs in Northern and all this sort of stuff, is we don't do enough to make Newey a better league.
I think...
The prime example is prime examples last year, that Perth team that Edgy played,
Yeah.
they gave them a week off in the league.
Yeah,
They didn't do that to us.
I know.
You had
I
two
think-
teams representing for Northern New South
We
Wales
played that weekend.
in the league, and we played that weekend.
And fixtures, I mean, let's be honest, fixtures are easy to move. Like, we do it
And
for
this
rain,
is-
why not do it for stuff like that?
Yeah,
and
this
and
is-
promotion
yeah.
of players internally as well, you know. And
Well, the
I think we
thing
posed
is-
the question as well last year to a couple of people, you know, in the finals, you know, do you see this as a development league? It's got to be as a development league to push players and, you know, push people into pathways as well.
The bottom line is, like, I've had loads of talks and emails, and I've got a meeting with Pete tomorrow through Mark Trenner. It's about making
he sees this.
making this league better. Like, if Maitland were to win this league and to go into the B League, now you've got 20 players in your points or whatever you've got. 6 of them are going to be young boys that are probably not going to be quite ready.
Yeah.
Now, for me, and I'm I'm edgy through and through, but I want to see Maitland do well
Yeah.
in that B League.
That's
Now,
right.
Northern New South Wales, however that can happen, one, the resources and the money they've got to pump into it, but let Maitland get 3 or 4 players.
Yeah.
Say, Ryan, get him up there on loan.
Yeah.
Let
Well,
him
yeah,
play a game. Let you make it happen. You can make it happen because
Yeah.
you can play for 3 clubs.
That's right.
It's a laziness thing if they don't make it happen.
But I mean, like, you look at it, because there was that talk of it years ago where, the game never came to fruition. It's when Zaney was coaching at Edgy, and they were going to do that joint team against the Jets.
Yeah.
They were going to play 2 games against the Jets.
Yeah, like a rep team,
Right.
yeah.
And it is mind blowing to me that that's not a thing.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is where my issue stems when you have like team of the year. The team of the year last year had
was crazy.
had the back 4 had one Magic player in it who was left back.
Beecham was the best centre back,
Yeah.
arguably all
Yeah.
year.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
say
There-
that,
there- and there's
Topper,
others,
Stanley,
yeah.
Regan, and Taylor,
Yeah,
those guys
unbelievable.
are excellent. But all 3 of them were in the team of the year,
Yeah.
and it
They
should
can't
not
be.
have been the case.
You've got to play a left back. You've
The
got to pick
left
a
back,
left
the
back.
best left back in the league was Will Ingram. The
Yeah,
best right
cool.
back in the league was Sam Campbell.
Yeah.
I'm not saying these
hands
guys,
down.
these guys are my friends,
Followed,
but
followed
no,
closely, I think, by young Butner as well. Like,
Yeah.
up
I
and down.
totally
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
I mean,
Agree.
Azza was good all year. But
Yeah,
there's,
yeah.
and then we go team of the year. Then you had the central midfielder, the cam of team of the year was Seth, who played out wide,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
then you had
yeah.
Wellesley, who was the
That's-
left wing.
But
and
they
I'm there
also-
thinking this is a decision that's made, and
Yeah.
they think it's okay to post this.
Yeah.
And it's a
I
spit in the
agree.
face to the players that
It's a
deserve
it's
something.
disrespect and it's
100% it's
laziness
disrespectful.
and it's. But even, and I've been a big fan of Braden Crowley, but I didn't put him in our team because that wasn't his best year last year.
No,
No, I don't think
that's
so.
right.
But he all the other years, of course, I'd pick him.
Yeah.
But even for Braden's high level, that wasn't his best year. So
No.
he shouldn't just get picked in that team
Just because he's Braden
based on
Crowley.
what he's done in the past.
I agree.
When we had some really good young players doing well.
He'd be the first to tell you this, though. This is another
Yeah,
thing.
and
Like,
that's
I
the
get to
thing,
see
yeah.
him every week,
Yeah.
and the guy's exceptional.
Yeah,
His
Yeah, no.
attitude's
High
exceptional.
standards, yeah, he trains well.
He is football
Yeah.
through and through. And
Yeah.
there's players like that. That's why when people go, oh, Sydney and that... Braden Crowley is one of the best strikers in Sydney. He's one of the best
Yeah, yeah.
strikers in Melbourne. He's one of the best strikers. He's arguably the best striker here alongside Ryan.
And
There's
this
no
is
argument there.
This is the stuff that I'm getting out there because we need representative football. We need
Yeah.
people on the ground, not people over there that are just going to agree with everything Pete says. It's people that aren't getting paid by Northern.
Yeah.
Going, we want this league to be competitive, so we're not getting whipped out in round of 32.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Doesn't
right.
matter who goes. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter
yeah.
if it's Magic. And I've got a rivalry with Magic. I still want them to do well in the cup.
Yeah.
So give us resources, help the clubs, help this be a better competition. And it's possible. We've got some very good
Yeah,
players in the league.
it's-
We've got some decent coaches in the league. Like, just let it evolve and put money into it and make it better. Make it,
No,
you
I
know,
agree.
bring the rep football in, but pay the players.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
think that with the B League now, they don't have an option to not do it.
Yeah.
Because because the whole point, you wanted a team from Newey to be in it, and I know there's stipulations with how much money you have to have in the bank, whatever the case is. Money's not an issue. Like, I don't want to hear about money being
No,
a
no.
problem when you go to Spears. See, this is another thing. We had a warm up at Spears Point recently. The main 2 fields, fine. Needs water. You can argue that, whatever. We went onto those five-a-side fields. Have you been on those five-a-side
Oh,
fields
yeah.
this week?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm looking at that thinking, when you first drive into Spears Point, Northern New South Wales, Spears Point is the footballing facility for Northern New South Wales. When you first drive in, you see that field on the right. It is a pig's den.
Yeah, yeah,
The only
yeah.
time it has ever been good is when the Jets were there. The
Yeah.
Jets men, because the Jets women were there and they didn't do anything for them.
Yeah.
And I look at that and people go, oh, this is minor details. It's not minor details. You go to
Yeah,
Sydney, Valentine
Yeah.
Sports Park, which we
That's
played a
sweet.
game at recently.
They got a
It's
grandstand.
carpet. It's perfect.
Yep.
The synthetic is better. Their main field gets done up. It's carpet all year. Sydney Olympic train out the back. The 2 fields of carpet. We don't have that anywhere else but Maitland.
Yeah, Maitland did. Yeah, no, the
it's-
facility at Maitland's, awesome. Comparing to CB, which is.
Yeah.
So
No, Jack McLaughlin's really good too.
Yeah, it's
I played
good.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't play there, but the kids play there on the
Yeah.
weekend. A little bit, need a little bit of cutting.
It's heavy. It's heavy.
It's heavy.
but
It's always heavy.
It gets better through winter when they ride grass and stuff.
But it's a good
That's a good
field,
facility.
good pitch.
It
But
Probably
we don't have like number 2's good. Like the
Yeah.
grand final last year should
Magic.
never have been at Magic.
No,
And I don't care whose money pockets are aligned. Couldn't care less. You had the 2 best teams, and there's no argument. I know Jaffers finished second, but they weren't better than Edgy were in the second half of the year. Edgy were the best team second half of the year. I know Ryan came in. It's a big kudos to him, but the team in general, they were the best team in the league alongside Magic. That was your grand final. All the best players were on that field. Technically, good footballers.
Well,
And they butchered it by putting it on.
putting
It
the
needs to be a
worst field.
purpose-built little
Well, I don't
stadium.
like you've got
Number 2,
you've
you
got
can't.
the number 2.
You
if
can't
kinda
use that because rugby has a
That's fair,
99-year
but you've got
lease.
McDonald's
Yeah.
Jones Stadium.
Yeah.
Now I know people go, oh, yeah, it's money. Okay, well then put it on the best field. That's
Yeah.
the whole point is to showcase talent,
Yeah.
not make players like Wellesley and Seth have to deal with it in the air. It doesn't help them.
Yeah. So Maitland it is. We've decided that.
So we.
Sweet.
I personally think if you're in the grand final, you shouldn't have it at your ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it should be
I
the
think
neutral
it
ground.
should be neutral too.
Yeah.
But if you can't, so neutral ground would be either number 2 or put it at McDonald's Jones.
Yeah.
Make the Jets play a game before it. There's so
Yeah,
many
yeah.
things
Yeah,
you can
you
do
do. Yeah.
to evolve the game. The whole point is to showcase the talent that we have. People watch the game. The grand final has a few thousand people there. People care about the game. We act like they don't.
Yeah.
Then we allow talent like Wellesley to go to Brisbane
Yeah.
when he lives in Newey.
Yeah.
Dowsey goes to Perth when he lives in Newey.
That's right.
And I can understand a coach may think he is good enough, he isn't good enough. That's fine. But there's this idea that it's difficult to give players a trial. Get them to train at the Jets every day. Go and play for your team on the weekend.
Yeah.
If you're good enough, you'll
Hey.
make it. And if you're not, you won't.
Definitely agree with that as well. And that strengthens the Jets because there's more competitions for
But
players
you
and
build
stuff as
you
well.
build a fan base because
Well-
can you imagine if someone like Wellesley made it or Ryan or Seth?
Yeah, of course.
Everyone from the
That's
clubs they're at
That's
would
been
go
the
watch.
past. That's how it was in the
Yeah.
past. But the so up at Maitland with Hughesy, who basically oversees the whole program, doesn't he? So does he JDL?
Yeah, he does.
He employs the coaches.
Now,
So-
also in terms of like employment of coaches and stuff like that, that's still a lot of the same figures
Yeah.
that were there because you don't
Yeah.
get the reins to be able to just go this and that.
Run the club.
Yeah.
He's not Wayne Bennett yet.
No.
But he oversees
he
every
helps out
program.
so
he's on the ground all the time.
Yeah,
Is he?
Which is a really good model for a club and structures coming through playing. I think it is anyway.
It is,
They're all
and
playing the same.
Well, talking to Bolchi, there is a big push for their youth. They were really disappointed in where that was heading in the last few years. So does that put added pressure? Like obviously he's got yourself in, and is Nicky Harmon?
Yeah.
Harmon. Who's got a good football brain? I really respect
Good kid
him.
from Nelson Bay.
Yeah. But
Is he from Nelson Bay?
is
I
it
didn't know that.
is there that added pressure of looking after the whole thing? Is it just like we want the club to do well, or hold on, everyone's judging the
There's too many hands in too many pies.
But are they judging his performance on making the semis,
I think
winning something, or is it just the whole?
Well, let's look at it this way. Or if you're a young kid, right? The only Edgy from years ago, and I always use this as an example because that Edgy team that Zaney had was dominant for how many years? If you're a young kid and you lived in Singleton, for example, and your kid was good enough, and you weren't going to take him to Western, your next closest club is Edgeworth.
Yeah.
Now, if you had the choice to pick, you would take your kid to a club like that because they've had the youth and stuff like that. People always look at it and think back to front. You've got to build. A club is absolutely everything. If your first team is successful, your reserve team will be successful.
It attracts the youth as well.
It attracts the
Yeah,
youth and
yeah.
stuff like that. Now, you can have the arguments that Maitland's out of the way, and so inner city kids aren't going to travel outside of the city to get to Maitland. I guarantee you that changes if the club is successful.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you've only
success
gotta-
stems throughout everything.
You only got to look at the decoupling last year. Western didn't make the cut in the youth, and half the kids
the
went to
kids
Maitland,
leave.
which
Yeah.
which
This
which
is
is a problem with the decoupling, because
Yeah,
you
but-
don't breed loyalty.
Yeah, well, yeah. I know. But you know what I mean? Like, it's the thing is, though, is we talk about like loyalty and all this sort of stuff gets thrown around in football as if at the top level, Raheem Sterling, when he was at Liverpool, he could have stayed there for another year. They would have been pissed off. They sold him for 50 mil, and then they go, "You're a turncoat." Well, let me stay and let me leave for free. People hate Mbappe.
Yeah, true.
People hate Mbappe, but you either sell me for 100 mil or I'm gonna leave for free. You get nothing. Harry Kane, this is
That's
football.
Business at the high level.
Always been like this, and it happens at every club. But the thing is with the JDL and all this sort of stuff is it's tough because a lot of parents do it. So if my kid's there, it's different for me. I have an A license, okay, but I spent my youth doing it, and I lived in a country that was subsidized. I'm on a different plane in that respect. I'm not paying $4,000 or $5,000. I got the government. The Federation of Brunei, there were two guys there. They got on with me really well. They liked me, and they said, "You're on the course." I didn't even ask to do it.
Yeah, wow.
I had my B license. I was in the airport. Mum was going on holiday to Singapore, and the two guys were there. And it was just a timing thing. And they said, "The course starts next week. We've put your name down. It costs this much. You're doing it." That was it. Dad paid for it, and I did it.
Yeah, awesome.
And so
that's cool. Fuck, you've got some skeletons, I bet.
Oh, yeah. There's a few.
No, very good. No, well, I mean, it's awesome, and it's a good setup, and you're in a good coaching setup. Personally, what goals have you got to get out of it this year yourself?
So it's with Maitland at the moment. I do a lot of the analytical stuff. So I haven't done any coaching at all. Like a lot of it is the drone work, getting all the games and watching them back and stuff like that. But I'm only 31, so it's adding another layer. I'll do a course in Canberra on football analytics and stuff like this. It's adding layers to the game. I have no issue learning from such a great guy in Husey. The other great thing is someone who's played at such a high level, knows so much about the game. Yeah. There's none of this gatekeeping stuff. He will literally, if I need something, he's there. And like this is the other thing. Same with Harmer. Like there's no ego with us. And this is probably, and it's not like that at every club. And I've been fortunate enough to be, I was at Magic, I was at Edgy, and like I said, I have no issue with Jim, and I love Pete. Pete, I'll always have a lot of love for because he gave me an opportunity to play when I was finished, essentially, last year. And I have huge respect for him. But when I talk about like the direction that I want to go in and stuff, and that's not to say these guys aren't good, it's that you always have to look at the very best opportunity you can get, and at the moment, this is where it's at. It's about evolving and learning. Football is changing every year. If you lack or you aren't willing to learn or advance in the game, you're not going to get any better. I'm also incredibly passionate, which is why I get in these arguments. With people. I love it. I watched every game last year on BarTV. Look,
if I'd have known this last year when you were reaching out to Gary to get on, you'd been bumped up the list, and
Well, just
I thought it was just all about your 1,052 Instagram followers.
It's 1,200 actually now. Thank you. So it's never been. You know what I mean? Like I genuinely love the game. There are people in the league that I cannot stand, and I think they're great players. There's this idea that like, my issue is my issue is like I get in these little tiffs and stuff, and a lot of the time football is an opinion. But like a friend of mine says, a broken clock is right twice a day. So you can have an opinion, it's still shit opinion. When people talk about
how are you going to break the clock if you smash the face? then
just throw it out the window.
No, I like that saying.
You know what I mean? And I just think that there's the other thing as well too is I'm 31, I'm young. I'm not coaching, you know what I mean? I'm at a coaching gig now. It's different. Whereas before, I was just a guy playing who's outspoken. People just think, who are you to tell us?
No, you're right.
That's just the game.
31, prime age, you know. You can get along with people in their mid-40s and down to their, teens.
Like I've always, like it's probably my biggest, being able to mingle in amongst the football and stuff like that. And
that probably comes from your background growing up overseas.
100%, dad and mum.
Definitely. And having that different cultures and stuff, you're interrelatable. So it's actually, it's absolutely remarkable sort of where you come. And I'd like to get more.
Way more layers than what I thought. So I thought you just had the same leg tattoo as Keanu Hall.
I
was walking behind them one time and they were walking side by side and
so who
left tattoo?
Who's the Wish version of who? Are you the Wish version?
I'm the Wish version of him. You don't have an argument. He's man-made. He's all good. He can have that. I'm just bigger.
Apparently he's going really well at Blacktown as well.
Really well. I went and watched him.
So that's a case in point. What is he? 29.
Well, Keanu's 29, and for me, he's made a football decision.
Yeah.
He probably could have got more money at Edgeworth.
Yeah.
Or definitely at another club in Newcastle.
In town for sure.
Way more.
I wanted it.
Yeah, at some of those.
I wanted
it. So I think, whatever you can play at the highest level you can.
Yeah. I mean, it's case in point of what you're saying. There's good people from...
Yeah. No, he did. He looked good. He looked probably the fittest I've seen him.
Well, he is, yeah. But that's like I said, that's the thing. This is what annoys me is when they talk about the Sydney teams are great. There's more players to pick from. There's more money, and the comp itself is better. No one's arguing that. But if Magic or the Edgy or these teams now, if they went into the Sydney comp, they're all fighting for top 6. This idea that we're just going to finish 10th is an insult. Bailey Wells is the best player.
Yeah, I just think we need.
He would be the best player there. Or
more resources. We need more contact with the other leagues, and we've got to do better. We have to do better in the cup. We have to showcase our league, but that's got to come from the top down.
But the other thing is, though, the tough thing with the cup is it very much does depend on like the team and the quality of coaches and stuff like that. I don't think people realise the environment that is set by a coach and the standards are so important. You can get a guy who you think is an average player or you think is not very good, and he can be coached by a coach who doesn't understand the game. And there's a lot of them in our league. There's a lot of them in all the leagues. Yeah. And you won't get anything out of him. Then you get somebody who understands it and goes, this is what you're good at, this is what you're going to do, and you're a stickler for it. And all of a sudden you get a player and you go, my Lord, look at the difference. Because it happens at the top level. You get someone like Anthony, who was at Ajax, he goes to Man United, all of a sudden he's no good. Everyone just goes, oh, you're terrible at football. You don't cost 80 million if you suck at football.
That's right.
Like, the environment for him there just isn't good. It happened to Ronaldo. So if it can happen to them at that level, it can happen at this level.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I could honestly talk to you all day. And we will get you back. That's 100% because I want to know about what the harem was like in the Sultan of Brunei fruit ice.
The water was good.
But we got a couple of questions before we leave. A couple of new ones this year, and you are decorated, not just in career but body-wise as well. So if you were going to get another tattoo, what would it be, and who would you let draw it for you?
What would it be? So I know what I want next. I want like an icon one. So all my favourite sports icons and stuff like that. Although Keanu's just done that. So I might have to change it up. But who would I get to draw it from? Do I have to like someone that I know? Like a piss
yeah.
Oh, I got to think who's
local
the best
player that you played with.
Who's the best artist that I know? I played against him. I get Matt Comerford. He's a tattoo artist.
That was he. Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
He might be a popular answer this year. So he's out. You're the only one that can say that.
Yeah.
And Gary, we're going to go to Vegas again.
We're allowed to go. Oh, we can do what we like. Yeah. So we're going to Vegas for your last ever end of season trip.
Here we go. Yeah.
And you can take 5 of your either closest friends or someone you look up, all the players you've looked up to, coaches, anyone in your journey.
And CT's coming, and we're coming too.
Okay, so you boys are coming.
We're
so
paying
I'll
for
take
it.
you in.
Okay,
you're paying for it. Who am I taking? I'm taking Keanu, just because that's my boy, and like without me, he struggles. Tattoos and the ladies, so we take him.
Oh, Jesus.
4 more. I need to think of who to take. Do you know what? I'm trying to think of just who's a joker. God, that's a great question. There's some boys back in the UK.
Yeah, take my name.
I'm trying to think. It's a tough. Who's the funniest guy that I've played with? I'm actually stuck because I'm usually the funniest one.
Yeah.
I'm already going. So yeah.
You can spend time with yourself over there anyway. So
it can be an old boy.
Yeah,
true.
You can just
I'll take my dad.
You know what? You can just take Keanu if you want.
Yeah, no, I take my dad as well.
Because,
yeah.
Because what we need someone's going to hunt down the spies chasing us.
Yeah, I'd take my dad.
We need some protection.
I'd have to take somebody I dislike, just for the fun of it, and hopefully they go missing. Jimmy? What happens if Jimmy? No, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I'll probably take. Do you know what? I'd take Ryan and Seth as well.
Yeah.
And you know what else? I'm a big fan of Jalen. The new import. I love Jalen. I'll take him as well.
Yeah,
we'll just take all the edgy crew.
Yeah,
that's what we'll do. We'll take the edgy crew.
Jalen who?
No. You're going to get to see him soon.
No, not on BarTV.
No. That's right. I forgot about that.
True, yeah.
NBN News. Might get some footage.
Yeah. Very good. And the last one, so... do we turn it back to
how it was?
Yeah. So you're sitting at the table. You got your missus there.
I'm single, so I'm not.
Well,
not
just
Well,
yeah.
just
Just think of one. Done,
yeah,
easy.
yeah, FB. You're sitting at the table and you brought along for the first time with the boys, sitting there up at Maitland. Where are you drinking up at Maitland?
I haven't actually been out once.
Yeah. Well,
That's
more,
a sponsor.
I'm not a drinker, but
Yeah,
so
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm the wrong
Good,
person to ask.
Yeah, well, anyway, you're going up to get a lemonade and maybe a cocktail for your missus. She's right into the piss. And,
She's flirty.
Yeah.
she's
Where are we
flirty.
going with this,
She's
boys?
flirty. She's wearing something maybe suggestive. Maybe not. No such thing. And yeah, who don't you trust at the table with her?
Oh, I remember this was asked. Who don't I trust? Good question. Who don't I trust? I think people probably expect me to say
No,
Keanu.
well, that's-
but
I
nah,
thought it
it's
was-
not. Nah, it's
no.
not him. I trust him with my heart and soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, he wouldn't touch.
He came up a lot of times.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's what I
Not
mean.
even for the Edgeworth.
You
boys.
know, it's not that. It's not that I don't trust him. I don't trust me missus around him. My missus is who I don't trust.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be
fair
him. It'd be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a great question.
Let's put it down this way then. Let's change it back.
Yeah,
if your
so-
wallet was left on the table because you're paying by your phone.
Oh, Keanu. Keanu.
And a lot of people said that last year too.
I remember going on a night out. Keanu goes, I shout you all night because I don't want to go out. I go, yeah. But 2 rounds in, Keanu goes, it's your shout. I'm going, well, fuck you mean? When you asked me to come out, now it's my shout. So yeah, him, 100%.
That's awesome. Well, thanks very much, Sam Ford.
appreciate it. Thanks
All
for
the best
having
for
me.
this year up at
Thank you,
Maitland.
thank you,
Definitely
thank
will
you.
get you on again.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, maybe around
Thank
another
you, thank you. I
sports
appreciate
centre.
it. Thank you. I've been harping on, but we're here.
Nah, it's awesome.
We wanted you to be in a
Position of power.
of.
Yeah,
No, I
no,
knew you were heading.
You can't just
North.
be ex-injured player for
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could
I was
get, we could get
ex-injured
your
player at
story out.
Maitland.
We could get your
Assistant
story
coach of-
out, and we could also.
No, I appreciate
You're up
it.
there,
I
and
appreciate it.
I know all about what you're capable of. But we,
I appreciate it. Yeah, if you ever need controversy, you know where I'm at.
No. We need a
But
we
yeah.
need a platform.
Yeah, well, we've got one. Thanks very much to BarTV Sports, the kings of live stream media. Thanks to Gary Wilson, Between Two Poles, Sam Ford, of course. Shout out again to CT, who had that unfortunate loss this week with his young boy Charlie. Love ya.